see me. Have you ever wanted to disappear like Harry Potter under his invisibility cloak, stalk your prey like a predator in the jungle, sneak around like Solid Snake in a cardboard box, but without the box, or with the box if you like? Well, friends, today we're talking about one of the sneakiest, most frustrating, and most hilariously misunderstood conditions in Dungeons & Dragons: invisibility. Invisibility isn't just for sneaky rogues or mischievous wizards. Oh no! It's the ultimate way to turn the battlefield into your own personal horror movie. 1 second you're chilling, the next, boom! You're being hunted by something you can't even see. It's the Invisible Man, the Mist, the Hollow Man, all rolled into one. But how does it work? What are the rules? And more importantly, how do you counter an enemy that's gone full ghost protocol on you? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's break it down. Make sure the next time someone thinks they're getting away unseen, you will be ready. In the 2024 edition of Dungeons & Dragons, the Invisible condition offers unique tactical advantages, reminiscent of iconic moments in pop culture where characters vanish from sight. This guide will explore that condition, methods to detect the invisible entities, and how to effectively apply this knowledge in your campaigns.
Invisible stuff again. Honest. And there were footsteps with no feet. And a grip that was unpacking itself.
All right, boys, let's go.
When a creature is under the invisible condition, it experiences several effects. 1, surprise. If you're invisible when you roll initiative, you have advantage on the roll. An example of this will be a rogue challenging the stealth of Bilbo Baggins with the One Ring, hiding while Gollum is hiding from Gandalf, the dwarves of Erebor, leaving the goblin tunnels. He then leaps over Gollum, getting away. Gollum flubs his attack of opportunity here. He definitely rolled with disadvantage. Or picture the predator hiding in the trees. In that case, upon rolling initiative, the predator gains advantage, increasing the likelihood of acting before the opponents. That being said, if you are hidden and you make an attack or are seen, you do lose that condition. Concealed, you aren't affected by any effect that requires its target to be seen, unless the effect's creator can somehow see you. Any equipment you are wearing is also concealed. An example of this, a wizard under the effect of the invisibility spell is targeted by an enemy spell that requires the caster to see the target. Let's say polymorph. Since the wizard is invisible and concealed, the spell has no effect unless the enemy can see invisible creatures. Attacks are affected. Attack rolls against you have disadvantage, and your attack rolls have advantage. If a creature can somehow see you, you don't gain this benefit against that creature. An example of this would be, hello bird. An invisible ranger attacks an enemy, gaining advantage on the attack roll due to invisibility. Conversely, if the enemy tries to attack the invisible ranger without the means to see invisible creatures, they have disadvantage on their attack roll. I do like this trail. It's a very nice trail. Examples of the invisible condition: the invisibility spell. A wizard casts the invisibility spell on themselves, rendering them unseen. While invisible, they gain advantage on attack rolls and impose disadvantage on attacks made against them. This is excellent. The hide action very much changed. A rogue used the hide action to conceal themselves behind cover. Upon a successful dexterity stealth check with a DC of 15, they gain the invisible condition. This is huge and a big change in the 2024 edition. Detecting an invisible creature requires a combination of perceptual skills, magical abilities, and environmental awareness. 1. Wisdom perception checks. Invisible creatures might produce sounds or disturb their surroundings, such as making noise or leaving tracks. Observing characters can attempt a wisdom perception check against the invisible creature's dexterity stealth roll to detect these subtle cues. An example of this will be a guard hears faint footsteps on a creaky floorboard, suspecting an unseen intruder. The guard makes a wisdom perception check to pinpoint the intruder's location. Magical detection. See invisibility spell is a second-level divination spell that allows the caster to perceive invisible creatures and objects as if they were visible, unless they have mind blank cast upon themselves. And also grants sight onto the ethereal plane. An example of this will be a wizard suspects the presence of an invisible stalker. By casting See Invisibility, the wizard can now see the stalker clearly, nullifying its invisible advantage. Fairy Fire spell is a first-level evocation spell. It outlines creatures in a 20-foot cube with visible glow if they fail a dexterity saving throw, effectively negating invisibility. During combat, a druid casts Fairy Fire. in an area where an invisible assassin is believed to be hiding. Failing its save, the assassin is now illuminated, making it easier to target. Or 3, there are certain special senses. Blind sight. Creatures with blind sight can perceive their surroundings without relying on sight, effectively detecting invisible enemies. Oh, look, a squirrel. Hey, buddy. Oh, a dragon with blind sight can see an invisible crow trying to sneak by with its blind sight radiance. Tremor sense. This sense allows creatures to detect vibrations in the ground, enabling them to locate invisible creatures that are moving or standing on the same surface. An example of this, an earth elemental with tremor sense can feel the footsteps of an invisible ranger moving across the cavern floor. Whoa. Environmental factors. Invisible creatures can still interact with their environment, potentially revealing their presence. Offering disturbances like moving curtains, footprints in the dust, or displaced foliage can hint at an invisible entity's location. An invisible thief accidentally brushes against a hanging tapestry, causing it to sway. A nearby guard notices this unusual movement. It becomes more alert to the thief's presence. I have to keep making new takes. People on the trail. Area of effect spells or abilities that affect an area can inadvertently reveal invisible creatures. A sorcerer casts fog cloud to obscure a battlefield. While the fog doesn't reveal invisible creatures directly, their movements through the fog or exiting the fog from people outside will create noticeable patterns and disturbances, hinting at their location. Understanding how to effectively utilize the invisible condition can significantly enhance a character's tactical options. You can initiate advantage. Being invisible grants advantage on initiative rolls, increasing the likelihood of acting before your opponents. An invisible monk rolls initiative with advantage, allowing them to potentially disable key threats before they can act. You get an enhanced offense. Invisible creatures have advantage on their attack rolls, making it easier to hit targets and potentially score critical hits. An invisible assassin attacks a target with advantage, increasing the chance of a successful hit and triggering class features like sneak attack. You also would get improved defense. Attacks against invisible creatures are made with disadvantage, reducing the chances of being hit. An invisible sorcerer is targeted by enemy archers. Archers have disadvantage on, seeing them because they are invisible. All that is great. But the ability to use advantage to your advantage is knowing how not to get caught. It's just as important as knowing how to reveal invisible enemies. Here are some pro tips for staying undetected. Moving slowly, sprinting around while invisible is like trying to sneak into Mordor with second breakfast in your hands. Slow, careful movement is key. Stay quiet. If you're invisible, like talking to your party like Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, enemies will hear you. Avoid disturbing the environment. If you're sneaking through a dusty room, remember, footprints are a thing. Pick the right moment to strike. Your first attack from invisibility is with advantage, but once you strike, the jig is up. Make it count. This is a nice day for a walk. Final thoughts. Visibility is one of the most powerful tools in D&D, but it's not foolproof. Like every sneaky rogue and illusionist wizard knows, staying unseen requires more than just a spell. It takes strategy, caution, and maybe a little bit of luck. So, if you're trying to channel Harry Potter, creeping through the jungle like the Predator, or pulling a classic Hollow Man, remember, being unseen is only half the battle. Staying undetected, that's the real trick. So until next time, keep rolling those nat 20s. May your enemies never see you coming. This is James from the Dungeon Puffin. Later. So peaceful. Also, kudos to Bob World Builder. It's a great idea, filming while walking.